Hey Cats fans, hello and welcome to the Final Bell for another week. The Cats are winners again, and back by popular demand is my co-host in Lingy's absence, Shannon Byrnes. Welcome.
Thank you, Meg. Great to be back again. I wasn't booed off stage and have been asked back on, so feel very special and hopefully can fill the shoes of Lingy for one more week.
Yeah, did you get any direct feedback? I got a lot of feedback on your behalf.
Oh, did you?
Shout outs. Yeah, Mum was a big fan.
Yeah, my dad was a big fan. So,
hey.
So the parents have got right around. They're the only ones that listen to it.
Good point. What was it? For someone who just doesn't know too much, like I'm like, Mum, you're learning more and more. But she was like, the insight of the runner was excellent. So we'll be getting some.
I better step up and
was your
deliver.
dad's feedback positive or?
He did say it was positive. Felt like we had a good rapport.
Got 'em all full.
Yeah, we could do a spin-off. But it's great to get that feedback from mum and dad. So and obviously your mum as well.
Yeah. I don't know if we spoke about it last week, but we did say to Lingy before he left that should the Cats suddenly start winning in his absence, maybe that was it for him. And then producer Jake last week rightly pointed out that it was a 45 points sort of numerology vibes, 45-point margin against Essendon. And then for a good while on Saturday twilight, it was 45 points again, and we got one more goal for a 51-point Cats win.
Cam Mooney was big on the numerology, I remember, at one point there. But, there might be something in that. Might send that through to Fox Footy for Cam. He'll put it on the bounce, I'm sure. There's something in Lingy not being here. But, no, we don't buy into that, do we? No, Lingy's great. He'll be back, and the Cats will keep on rolling, hopefully.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, how's your morning been? Because I've complained to you about mine.
No, I can't complain. Your phone nearly blew up in your hands, so that's not a good start.
I'm envious. You've got your notes section up. You've got a few things you're ready to speak to on the pod today. I'm flying blind, so it might be better. But I do want to thank you for coming back on, particularly on what is a CBA day off for the players, which means you usually take a day away from the club on those days.
We do. But this is a good reason to get back in here, and you can cheat off my notes. So it can be like an exam. And you can look over my shoulder. So
it's very conscientious. No cheating. But I feel like someone should have told me earlier in life that P's get degrees. But we'll get into that another time. Maybe in the PDM office later on. All right, let's get to a big Cats win. We'll be recapping, and not too many other things on today's pod, guys. So you just get to listen to us and our fantastic rapport and banter while we go back over the big win and preview a big Friday night and get to some fan questions. You've had your first look at some of the stuff that gets sent through, so it won't all make it to air, but we'll pick out the
some interesting things that get sent through. Some are more just statements, I think. We used to get them at the footy clinics, like, anyone got any questions? My dad played footy. Awesome. There are some really good ones in there as well. So much appreciated, and hopefully we can give them a good answer later on.
Absolutely. Well, we took down our great rivals, the Hawks. First question for you: how much of a sense of the rivalry is there in the current playing group? Do you reckon? When we're lining up, we're welcoming them back down the highway after a good long while. Is there that energy in the team? We spoke about the vibe last week. Or is
it's
it
still strong. Like the Easter Monday game sets it up for the season. That even new players to the club, if you're not part of that rivalry till that point, you realise how big it is. Being a part of that game, or even just coming to watch it in the crowd as a new player. So I think it's not lost on the playing group how big the rivalry is. Like starting way back in the 80s, the grand final there in 89, and then the recent history of just how close games were, and no matter where either team is on the ladder at the given stage, that generally it's going to be a good contest. So the boys were ready for this one. It seems,
And it was Gary's 200th, with which he led the team out and then led the team back in. We love that. Got chaired off, but we'll speak about his game in a minute. How did you feel at the start when we were pretty dominant early, but we couldn't make it? Couldn't quite make it count on the scoreboard?
Well, I was going to chat about Jez Cameron actually, because those who watched the game closely would have seen he had new boots on this week. Bright yellow, fluoro yellow. So he came into the office earlier in the week and he was wearing them in the office. So it was like, he's looking for feedback here.
In the office?
Yeah, he's had this look on his face.
On the carpet.
And then I looked down and, yeah, he's got the bright fluoros on. And I was all about him. Like, I think he can pull them off.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so new boots and obviously has the start to the game that he has. He was on fire, had a lot of the footy, but missed his first 3 shots at goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I run out to him as runner and just glanced down at the boots.
Mm-hmm.
And he just assures me, Burnsy, don't worry, mate. Got them right where I want them now, mate. They're worn in just right. So he went on to kick his next 4 goals after that. So he somehow he knows. And if you are going to, go out and buy those yellow boots of Jez's, make sure you kick them in just right before the game.
3 misses will do you fine, and then you'll be
just get those 3 misses out of the way, and then you're away. So he's pretty confident now. He's worked them out. So hopefully
how long he rolls with that exact pair for.
Yeah, well, until he goes on another missing spree, I'd imagine. But let's hope he's, like you said, he's worked them out. So hopefully they're kicking straight from the start.
The ripples go through. I was sitting up in the Joel Selwood stand with a bunch of the team, and whenever a new boot is out, focus is on. Or shout out Georgie Rankin is particularly keen. I think they're menaces.
Yes.
They were, quite a few of them dotted around the field. Not all of them kicked 4 goals, but
no.
It was good that you got him. You got the reassurance out of him.
Yes.
I'm wondering, I was asking you before, how is that just your own initiative? I'm just going to go and just check in with Jez, or is that is that Scotty being like, oi,
go check on Jez's boots? No. So any message that goes out during play is clearly from upstairs, but there's not always a message after every goal. So, I love getting out there. So even if there's not a message, I might have seen something that was, a player do a really good spoil, tackle, whatever it may be, and generally goals. But I always want to get out to the goal kicker, get out to someone that's done something good, and just having had that conversation with Jez early in the week, I thought it was a good chance to check in on him and just see what he was thinking.
I mean, you've got your own KPIs. You've got to get your Ks up. So any opportunity.
Exactly. It's like a free fitness session for me. So
was that your vibe when you were a player? Were you hype man? Speaking of you as a player, just everyone, I hope you can zoom in enough if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, this is why we've lowered the seats.
We're going with the couch.
Just so I can have myself over my left shoulder. Well, I think as a small forward, you need to be positive and up and about. It's, I guess, I wouldn't call myself a hype man, but trying to stay positive. And
you value the little things.
Yeah, the little things are important as a small forward because you're not always, you got to make the most of the little things, I suppose. So, I guess that's what I was aiming to do.
That's what you're doing. And I know, it sounds like you absolutely did. We've got a whole segment on the little things later on, which we'll get to in Bendigo Banks Meet the Moment. But yes, we missed a few early, but then we started to really sort of, I think, what's the word when you laser, you get in, get your range in. What am I trying to say? Get your eye in, get your boot in.
Yeah.
Do whatever
we
Jez
settled
did.
into the game nicely.
Yeah. A few players to speak about. Obviously, it was Stewie's second week in the midfield, and he's ended up with 26 disposals, 11 marks, 5 tackles, and quite a number of clearances, including that first one that led, I think, to the first shot on goal. He got that handball forward to danger. Have you seen his impact 2 weeks in?
Oh, well, it's been positive, very positive. I feel like him and Danger are really working well together as well. We've got that, just those 2 big bodies in there, and he's just. We touched on it last week, but I guess the willingness of our players to accept a new role, I feel is as good as is anywhere, and Stewie's just the example of that for us at the moment. Someone that's been given a new challenge, and he's just taken to it like a duck to water. The midfield have really loved having him, come through and he puts his stamp on the game with the way he goes about it. Some of the tackles you would have seen earlier in the game. Just, I think that sends a message to the opposition midfield that they're going to have to earn every kick.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing, and the public can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure if it's broadly understood what an incredible athlete he is.
Yeah.
Whenever we're going to the gym and everyone's numbers are put up and his sort of counter movement jump, we call it, his power to weight ratio is unbelievable.
Yeah, his power's off the charts, and I don't know the numbers of the gym, but I do get on the bump bag before the game.
Yes.
And
that's the real barometer.
His hit through my body is by far the hardest, and I have to brace myself for him coming through me on the bump bag every week. So if I had a rating of bump bag, hit ratio, whatever it is.
Yep.
His is a 10.
Rating.
His is a 10. Yeah.
His is a 10. Who else is?
Blitz hits really hard as well. Zach Tui.
Who needs to put a bit more into the bump bag?
Yeah, some guys just tap it. I don't know, and that's not to say that they're not strong in the contest. They just don't value it before a game. They save it for a game. Yeah.
I don't. I mean, maybe the coach will give me some feedback on this, but it's not something I go searching for pre-game. I'm like, when I need it, it's there.
Yeah. So I don't want to judge anyone on their.
Okay. Just we'll go positive only.
Yeah, just the positive ones, and those boys hit hard.
Another person who's obviously been the subject of a little bit of chat recently is Sam de Koning.
Yeah,
what a game from him. You got 2 chances to get out after him.
I did
after a goal.
Yeah, so I was going to touch on the small forward craft that I really loved from the weekend, and Shawnee Manor was unbelievable with his pressure, and Brad Close 4 snaps. Like that gets me up and about as a small forward. And my other small forward craft standout was Big DK.
DK.
Yeah, he was. I don't know.
1-2 snap.
He I'll put him on the highlights for our smalls this week because he was just so dangerous. In our forward line, but on the ground, and that's what's made him a real threat in the ruck, because he's not just a threat in the air; he actually gets after it, and that's for any key rucks, like to get the tap is great, but then for them to become a 4th midfielder after it hits the ground, I think that's where their value really goes to another level.
His handballing has always been exceptional. I felt he's I guess it's the basics of hand-eye coordination. He seems a very not a typical however many centimetres he is giant.
Yeah, he's like 204, 05, which is I think that's a part of his game that's probably been underrated and not seen as much in the position that he was playing. Whereas now he's, like I said, he's got his tap and then he's down on the ground, and you're getting to see more of what he's capable of. So that check side goal. I don't know. The moment. What's our
meet the moment?
Meet the moment.
Bendigo. Well, let's go right there because you've mentioned a couple of them. But the Bendigo Bank meet the moment, that is one of the nominees.
Yeah, I was just going to say it has to be up there.
Was it tap? Then got the handball receive. He was in it twice. He was
in the play twice. Wasn't he? Yeah, he was.
The audacity to just on the run have a ping.
Yeah, and it's awesome when anyone in the team does that. But when your ruckman does that, that goes through the whole group. Everyone just gets up and about it. It's almost feels a bit unexpected. Feels like you've got away with one. But it wouldn't surprise me if DK could do that again at some point as well. So
if you look behind the goals at that footage, I had to rewind it a few times, but I think Max Holmes does the old double hand on the head.
Double hand on the head.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, wow. I think the bench would have had a similar reaction. Not only lives
from the bench of that one.
Yeah. I think there is some good vision from the bench. I'm not sure where that's going to come out. But Jakey might be able to produce that at some point, but
even his first, that was his second goal. His first one, the transition and the challenging forward to finish in the goal square.
Yeah, even the ball movement to end up and DK's finish, was great from the goal square, but just the way the boys handballed that through in what is the most highly pressured part of the ground. yeah, that was pretty special as well. So
3 of them could have kicked those goals, and one who I think gave it to him was Brad Close, who's our second nominee. I think there was commentary that was saying the smother that the Hawks might have been getting a run on, and
yep. No, I agree with that.
Up.
Yeah, they were starting to build something, and it felt like that was going to get through. And if you had the down the ground footage, it's like they were out if they'd had got through the middle of the ground there. So he's got his had the sleeves on, and the arm came up, and somehow just sent it back our way, and that really killed the momentum of that play for the Hawks, and deservedly so, should be up for nomination.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what I loved about that? He was sort of like covering off the handball release and was aware enough to turn back, head on a swivel, and get the arms up. So it's
there's craft in that.
There's craft, and there's no, I guess, coincidence that you have a game like that where your pressure is really up and on, and you're the one that finishes with 4 goals. It's usually
and you always say that to the guys that early on, if they've had a tackle or they've given one away. I think Tice gave one away early. You're going to get that back in some form if that's the way you play. And if everyone plays like that, then hopefully you all get a lick of the ice cream at some point. But it was great to see he got rewarded on the scoreboard as much as he did with his defensive pressure. So, and Shawnee Manor,
let's talk about him.
We spoke about him earlier, but I think he had how many? 14 tackles. Sorry, 14.
Can you just give us, our listeners, a sense of how extraordinary that is? Like, what's a high tackle game in the AFL?
I would say 6 is pretty high. So 14 is incredible, and the next player on the ground might have been 8. I don't know. So that shows you how incredible it is.
And not just sort of a tackle, get a stoppage ball up, but actually dispossessing, winning the free kick, run down, holding the ball. That's the common phrase I was searching for. Oh my gosh. Couple holding the balls, but one particular moment I loved from him was an intercept mark.
Yeah.
They put it down his throat, but again, swivel, intercept in sort of the what we'd call A mid, and then straight away hits Gryan.
Yeah.
It's Gryan.
So that the ability to do that is not as easy as it seems either, because it essentially takes the mark, stands, sees the target, hits it. Some players need momentum going towards the target, or
need the vision, need more than that time to assess.
Yeah, that's right. And at AFL level, having that skill is crucial, because the moment is so brief, where a player is out. So to be able to take the mark, stand, deliver straight away, that can set up the rest of the play going forward. But if he goes back and thinks about that kick for a little while, Grind's covered, and then players are back. So you can't underestimate that. Just take it, see it, hit it.
And a little fist pump.
As well.
We loved it. And then I think he ran to the bench.
He did, straight off.
Job done.
And then the bench get around him, and more. And
Grind finishes his work.
And Grind, exactly. So, and then I get out and give him a bum tap. So the vibes continue.
I think it was, I liked one of the calls in the comms. I mean, I was at the game, but obviously one of the great benefits of getting on a bit of a winning streak is going home and watching it again and then listening to all the shows. I think Dwayne Russell called, he said something like, another one from the Grindmire's gift shop or something. Goal assist gift shop. I was like, I love that a lot. That was a great call.
Good analogy, that. I like it.
One person we haven't spoken too much about though was the Milestone man, little Gary Rowan.
Yeah.
I think he was the one who got on the end of that little Tyson giveaway.
He did.
And it was good to see him sort of cash in. And at one stage, I think it was after his set shot goal, he signalled up to Bay, whatever it is, in the Joel Selwood stand, and a couple of the girls got excited that maybe he was giving us a wave, but his family was 6 rows in front. But
probably his family, but a bit of both. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, chosen family.
But he was the Milestone man. It was great to have him on the podcast last week. But the crowd sort of is looking for the Milestone man to do something special as well, and for him to do something early in the game, that lifts the crowd immediately, I think. So yeah, I'm sure he was doing it just for you girls and the family. It lifted the whole stadium when he kicked those goals because you want it to be a special night for the Milestone man, and it's good to see him get off to a good start.
Absolutely. Any other broader takeaways from the game on the weekend, or how we've sort of, I guess, found a little bit of form? I feel like Lingy was particularly big on us trying to play a little more front half footy, get those front half turnovers happening, and whether it's because we've got the bigger bodies back in the midfield or other positional changes, it seems like we're able to do that. And then off the back of it, I'm loving the even distribution of the sort of intercept game that's happening behind the ball.
Yeah. I agree with Lingy that you want to play forward half footy, and a big part of that is your midfield going well, but it's your backs getting up in the game as well, rather than sort of sitting back waiting for the turnover. They're right on top of their opponents. So if Hawthorn get it back in the forward half, they look up and everyone's covered. Or if we get it, halfway up the ground, we've got so many options, not just from our forwards and mids, but our backs are just lined up ready to come through and create something for us. So, it has been encouraging, I suppose, to have that forward half footy seen in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, there's no bigger challenge than taking on the Premiers Friday night footy at the G.
Absolutely, which is a great lead into our preview. We'll probably take a little break. Welcome back to the final bell for our preview segments. We've got a big game coming up on Friday night. Apologies if the old outro to the previous segment has stayed in the edit. If you know, you know. If not, then Jake's looked after us. Yeah. But yes, Friday night footy. Have you got your haircut booked?
I do, actually. It's important under the lights. Yeah. Friday night, Pies, it takes me back.
Go on, nostalgia. Good. Here we go. Why not? We've got the setting for it. 07-09
prelims, 2010 prelims. They are the loudest games I've ever played in by a stretch. And the 07 one in particular, it was really close for those who don't know. And we were up by 5 points at the end, right at the end of the game. I'm playing half forward on Heath Shaw. Ball is a ball up on 50, on their 50. Heath Shaw just shoots forward. So this is right at the end of the game. All of a sudden, I'm one out in the goal square with Heath Shaw. Never played back in my life. And there's a ball up on 50. And I'm thinking, there's going to be a quick kick out of here. It's going to be me and Heath Shaw, one-on-one and, potentially to go into a grand final. Anyway, ball gets thrown up, siren goes. That is the sweetest sound I have ever heard in my life. But I could barely hear that sound because I couldn't hear a thing. So anyway.
Producer Jake, you know what to do. Clip that up.
O'Brien, taken by Didak. It's inside the forward 50. Bartel is back. It's being held to him, I think. What a big call. Umpire will bounce it on the 50.
But these games take me back to those moments and just how loud the Collingwood crowd and Cats crowd can get when it's a packed stadium. So hopefully it is a big crowd this week, hopefully the Cats can get the job done. But it's not going to be easy.
No, there's we've got you here. How does the crowd and the noise impact your job? You got to get a little closer?
Yeah, we've got to get right up in their grill. Yeah. Sometimes even have to get physical with them, grab them from behind and, make sure they know I'm there. But, hopefully early in the game I don't have to get too physical, but maybe later on I'll have to employ the physical tactics. But, you do have to get right up close in some games.
Is there a particular energy to the group when you go into the MCG? I know there's, I feel like I'll speak for myself as a player. I've never played at the G, but there's something to enjoy at each venue. Obviously playing at home in front of a crowd like we did on the weekend is, that's number one.
Yes.
But there must be something special about going to our country's best and biggest stadium.
Yeah, we're very lucky that we get to play there a few times throughout the year, and don't take for granted that some interstate teams don't get that luxury as often. So I think it does get most players excited. Like when you're a young kid, that's the ground you're pretending to be in the backyard. And Friday night, I think, is sort of the prime time game where all eyes are, watching. It feels like anyway. It certainly did as a kid, and I think that gets players excited to be at their best and put in a good performance.
And is noise and volume, no matter who it's for, or do you get that sort of, the Collingwood crowd?
I used to love noise both ways.
Yeah.
It's because you can't hear specifically what every person's saying. It's just noise. So I think that gets you excited, because even if it is the opposition yelling out, you don't know what they're yelling, and sometimes if you get a good tackle or anything, the noise is loud from both supporters. So I think most players just feed off noise in general. Obviously, it gets teams up and about if the noise is louder when you kick the goals, but you got to
make the trip up the highway, please, Cats fans.
Yeah, that's what
got so many in Melbourne.
That's
so
my subtle suggestion. Just get up there and make sure you are loud when we do something good, because it certainly makes a difference.
And what do you make of the difference in dimension in the grounds? I know it's been noted, particularly with a good performance on the weekend, how well we defend GMHBA, and it's the longer ground, et cetera, et cetera. We did it pretty well the week before at the MCG. Is there much spoken about in the footy department about the subtle differences in the shape of the ground, particularly when we hold our defence the way we do and that sort of thing? Yeah,
no, every ground's got its subtle differences, and that's always touched on leading into the week, just that where certain parts of the ground might be more vulnerable than others, and how we cover for that. So, as I touched on earlier, we're lucky in a sense that we get to play there a few times throughout the year, and you see it as a dress rehearsal for the pointy end of the year.
For a few more times in September, hopefully.
Yeah, because that's where you got to get it done. We'd love to have our GF here, GMHBA.
Can't wait for the women's for that one there, Benji.
Yeah, we might have to stack a few more grandstands on top of the ones we've already got for that to be a goer, but you need to play well at the MCG to win the premiership. It's as simple as that. So, we really, I guess, prepare ourselves well to play well at that ground. So, hopefully, like the week before, we can do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. What have you made of the Pies recently? Have you kept an eye on them?
Yeah, well, like their form isn't great. And they'll say that themselves. I've heard Craig McRae say that. But believe it or not, they've got a fair few premiership players still in their lineup out there at the moment, and they can't be underestimated at any given stage. The reigning premiers for a reason. They've got some seriously good players. Sidebottom was in some great form. Dacos brothers had a great season. DeGoey could reel off a lot.
Stuart Dacos in the middle.
Yeah, there's going to be some good matchups this week.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone, kicking their mic.
Yeah, and even Chris, we don't want to let him kick 3 with his first 3 kicks or whatever he did on the weekend. So we'll try and avoid that if we can. But
stoppage craft wouldn't hurt there, I think.
Yeah. So while they're not playing their best footy, I think they've still got a lot of their best players out in the ground. And what you find with good players is that they find ways to respond when they're not going so well. So we're not expecting them just to roll over and continue on the way they're going. I think that they're going to get a bit of a spike from their coach this week, and we've got to be ready for that. Yeah,
and any team that can bring the pressure the way they do, I know there's been some commentary on their ability to sustain that recently. Particularly when you've got that many injuries, I think sometimes the pressure is too is oversimplified and people just make it about effort, but it's actually, there's a lot more to it than whether you're just trying or not.
Yeah.
There's structure involved, there's personnel.
I couldn't agree more with that statement, Meg. Effort is my number one bugbear. If anyone ever says the effort is not there for AFL players, that is the laziest commentary of any team. AFL players are seriously good footballers, seriously, well trained, and they're playing
and highly professional.
They're playing for their careers. They're not just rolling out there going, I'll just get through this one and on to the next. Oh, we're not going to win this. Like, effort is not a thing. There is so many other reasons why teams play poorly. It's not because they're not trying. I'll give you the tip, and I'll use my time at Melbourne as a bit of a example of that. So I got traded to Melbourne in 2013-14, and we won 2 games that season. I'd never run more in games than I did in that 2013 season, and it's because you're defending the whole game, and as the game goes on, your effort looks less. It's because you're more tired. You've run more, and I ended up getting osteitis pubis that year from just running so much. But it was just because we were chasing, and there was breakdowns in a lot of other areas of our game. That's why the effort looks poor.
Yeah.
Not because I wasn't trying.
No, absolutely. I think there's lots of research about that, isn't there? Team synergy often means that when you're performing well, you're much more efficient, and you're not having to do those extra efforts.
Absolutely. So
it's the making of you as a runner, though, perhaps.
Not a bit of a rant there, but
the point is, Collingwood will be bringing the effort. They
will be bringing the effort.
Yeah, they're sitting in 9th, I think, perhaps.
Yeah, thereabouts, just outside the 8. So that's another reason for them to lift as well, because they're just hanging on, and they'll want to spike back the other way. One
more sort of form question for you, and maybe we don't want to get too far into this, too behind the curtains, but I found it interesting recently. We started so well, 7-0, and then obviously teams find a way to counteract your strengths and for example, play the tag on Stewie, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Struggle a little bit. I'm feeling quite confident and quite positive about you play a certain way, or your game evolves, you're winning.
Yep.
Other teams have a look at that, they study that, and they find a way to get you. And then this is almost, I think, the second wave of how we're going to play in 2024, and hopefully that carries us through. Whereas you look at, and no one's saying that Sydney and Carlton aren't every bit premiership favourites, but they're having that now, possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Scotty touched on it like in the last week or two, to say that you've got one way of playing, and that's the way that's going to get you through and win the premiership from the start of the year to the end of the year, it just doesn't happen in today's football. Teams study every other team's way of playing, within an inch of its life, really. So that they're going to work out what you're trying to do. You need to. The best coaches, the best teams are the ones that you need to have a good foundation of how you play. Like that's going to stay pretty solid for the whole year. But you need to be adaptable. Back to players who are adaptable to playing different positions, but adaptable to what the opposition are then going to do to counteract that. So, what we've done in the past couple of weeks is probably a clearer example of, like, we've made some bigger changes in ways of positional moves, but there are smaller changes within your game plan that aren't as clear as just the positional changes that you need to make every year to be adaptable to what the opposition then do to counteract what you're trying to do. So,
and within that process, you can't teach something in a team meeting one week and have it work perfectly on the weekend. That's right.
And what you think's going to happen, then the opposition will change what they're. So you need to be adaptable within a season, but also within a game to be able to change to something that you might not have seen coming.
Absolutely. Well, we are looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I will be watching from the couch at home because of my own high performance priorities. We've got an early training session on Saturday morning.
Fair enough.
You'll be
You're a
there.
pro.
You'll. I saw you on the bike yesterday as well. You're just topping up.
Yeah,
All good.
getting ready. No, I'll definitely be there in the pinks, and hopefully getting out for a lot of goals, and Jez's boots are working right from the start.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the GMHBA health update coming out on Tuesday, we presume. Nothing for us here at the moment. Hopefully, Mitch Nevitt was going to play. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then he was a bit sick,
Illness.
so he'll hopefully
He's
available.
he's down. We're at the club at the moment. He's downstairs doing some extras at the moment, so he looks like he's back healthy again. So yeah, it'll be interesting week at selection table, I suppose.
Sounds like Ollie Henry. He was obviously good to go on the weekend, but the coach said in the post game that ideally he would have played a little bit more, but he'll be fresh off a 6-day break. So again, our philosophy of putting everyone in.
Yeah,
let's get him in there.
Yeah, that's right.
Wonder who will you be having a kick with at 3/4 time?
I don't know.
Do you ever like? I wish I could listen to what's being said over there.
Yeah, but I enjoy having a kick as well. It's sort of just a bit of a luxury that.
Yeah, that's true. Not everyone gets to
kick
in front of 90,000
Yeah,
MCG.
and the crowd get into it sometimes as well.
That's
so
great.
Feed off that.
Who is putting their hand up from the VFL? They had a heartbreaking 1-point loss to Box Hill on the weekend, but we had a number of other players put in a good showing. So Hardy with another 2 goals. Listed amongst the best we've got Closey, Willis.
Hards was brilliant.
Well.
Hards was really good. 35 touches, a lot of tackles, a couple of goals, and he's been great all year. He's one that's just ready to go if ever the opportunity presents. Teddy Closey, another player who I put in that category. Just every week, you know what you're going to get from him. Had a couple of massive smothers and tackles in that last quarter, and those 2 in particular were fighting to the death to that. To try and get that win, which would have been awesome. James Willis was really dangerous up forward, and Connor O'Sullivan was really stable down back as well. So, Georgie Stevens is another, and Parf that I didn't mention as well. So I think it touched on this last week, but you need to have 5 or 6 guys that are in good form and ready to go if you're going to be a threat at the back end of the year, because inevitably there are going to be some injuries, some sore boys, people you need to manage, and you need to have guys that are ready to go and can step right into a role at any given moment. And I feel like we've got at least 6 of those boys playing that type of footy at the moment, so hopefully that continues.
Absolutely, and we've got your department to make sure everyone's feeling good and motivated.
Get the vibes up.
Keep the vibes up.
Yeah, exactly right.
For those that don't make the squad for the Friday night Collingwood game, our VFL team will be playing at Vic Park the following day, Saturday, 1:05 p.m. kickoff against the Pies as well. So plenty of opportunity to watch the Cats this weekend. That is all for our preview segment. We're going to take another break and have a look at some of these fan questions.
Can't wait.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Final Bell. Thank you for submitting your fan questions via our channels and your comments. And your statements.
Yeah, love them.
And your
great feedback.
Selection decisions and your predictions for the future of the Geelong Football Club. We love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Get a real kick out of it. But let's focus in on some questions that perhaps you've got a particular you can speak particularly well to, given your role in the club. We're going to start with one from, I believe it's Tushan_something. I love this question. Who in the next generation of leaders, or who's the next generation of leaders for our footy club? Holmes, ? Conway, ?
Yeah.
Is Lawson a smoky, ?
Well, you're on the money with a lot of those names. So working in the academy, I'll speak of the guys that really lead the way, I suppose, in that space. And Toby Conway is definitely one of those guys. Unfortunately injured at the moment, but Lawson Humphreys in his first year he's very unflustered by any situation, and I think that's a great sign of a future leader. Doesn't seem to be overawed by any situation, and can just roll with good and bad things happening in his life. I see him as someone that can really step into that role. So Sean Manor has come in as a first-year player for us, but he's in our academy system, which is generally for our first or third-year players. And I know he's just recently become a dad, but he is like the dad of that group, really brings them together. He brings the players over once a week for the academy boys for dinner. And, yeah, I see that as another good sign of leadership, is just, bringing the group together outside of training and bonding the group in different ways. Ollie Dempsey and Mitch Nevitt are two other guys who have a real rapport with the younger players and, lead the way in that space. Ted Closey I could throw into that mix as well. And Mitch Hardy, while he hasn't played any senior footy, again has been another father figure type character in that group. So, we've got a good bunch of young players coming through.
There also seems to be a good few that are, they're still in their early 20s.
Yeah, that's right.
Another 10 years ahead of them if you're looking at how old's Gryan and...
Yeah, Gryan, Tommy Atkins, two others who... are brilliant in that space, and they're probably going to get to that leadership position quicker than the guys I've just mentioned. Maxie Holmes has been really good as well. So for a team, I guess that was pigeonholed as a bit old in years gone by, I think there's more positivity now around the younger players that are coming through, and exciting for when they get their time to lead the team.
Absolutely. All right. Kez Mawson asks, and I don't know if we can clear this up, why are we wearing white shorts 9 out of 10 games and not blue for home games?
I would imagine that's just jersey clash sort of stuff. I can't.
Is it? I thought white was our home. Yes.
AFL directive.
AFL directive. I thought I was under the understanding that,
Well, that's generally the case. That you wear your blue at home and your white away, but maybe that just doesn't show up as well on TV. Yeah.
Well, another shout out for the women's. We don't wear white shorts anymore, so all blue, which is
right.
We love a bit of feminist movement. So if you're looking for a white short, tune in late August.
Yeah.
I mean a blue short.
Blue
short.
short.
How am I going? A blue short.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference?
Not really.
Pink. Pink's your preference.
I wear pink every week, so AFL can't change that.
This is from Jamie Badiani, I believe, and we sort of touched on this last week, but what makes Geelong special in their prep where every player out there can play any position? Is it something that's unique to our footy club, do you think?
I wouldn't say it's unique because I think every team needs players that can play in different positions, but so there'll be directives from coaches for players to change positions, but it's the education and the willingness of the player themselves to be able to take on that role, which I think we do have a pretty special group in that sense.
Follow-up question, how much time is spent sort of pre-season or otherwise training people in their second position, or is it a pretty quick adaptation mid-season?
No, that they will test a few things in the in the pre-season. That's your time to make those experiments, I think. But they don't overdo it at the same time. They'll throw them in there for 5 or 10 minutes, and then maybe they'll include them in a couple of meetings that they wouldn't have otherwise been included in. But it's just that constant talk around, all right, guys, you're playing in X position at the moment, but you could be playing in Y throughout the season, so don't just, pigeonhole yourself into that spot, and keep your education mind as wide as possible in all meetings, because that could be where you find yourself by the end of the year.
Yeah. All right, I've got one that I think you were saying you got an exciting answer to. I think this is from a fellow podcast. We'll see if I say this properly. Hoops the right. Hoops, there it is. Oh gosh, how am I going?
Hoops, there it is.
Sorry, team. Sorry. A father and daughter podcast. Shout out to Hoops, there it is.
That is a cool name.
Sorry, I needed I needed the space
Meg
bar in
butchered
there on
that
the
one.
handle. Oh, sorry, team.
Kidding.
Hoops, there it is. What are
Yeah,
your
that was good.
favourite
That's a
team
great.
building activities?
So this is timely because we've got a good one tomorrow where, as people may or may not be aware, Chin Chin.
But they are absolutely aware if we've done our job properly on the podcast.
Yes, well, there might be some new
Club
listeners.
Chin Chin.
Club Chin Chin is part of the stadium. And we often try to get our players as educated in all areas of life, and cooking is super important for a professional athlete. And Club Chin Chin have been awesome enough to offer a cooking class for our players tomorrow. So they're going to be up in the Chin Chin kitchen learning a couple of their best dishes, which is pretty cool team building activity, I think.
I'm absolutely envious. I love my cooking.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually, have we swapped a recipe in the past?
Yeah, you're giving me
did.
a veggie soup.
Was it chicken soup? Yeah, I've got another.
Yeah,
I've actually got another really good one.
It's gonna be hard
Anyway,
to top
same
that one.
chef. Shout out at Molly Baz,
Yeah.
legend.
All right. Look forward to that.
But I've got if you could just ask for me tomorrow.
Yes.
I want to know about the roll on the rice noodle in the pad see.
Okay.
How does that?
Yep.
How does that happen? Do you know what I'm?
I know. What you're
Anyone
talking
that's
about.
been
Delicious.
to Chin Chin or Club Chin Chin will know
Yes.
that the pad see is unbelievable, and the flat rice noodles that come in a little sort of cigar situation.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how it's all going to go down because I kind of see it as like a magician puts on a show and like people are amazed by it.
You don't want to peek behind.
And then you get the peek behind the curtain. You're like, oh, they did it that way, and you're like, oh, it's not.
Are you not a? You're not a. The Bear? Do you watch the
No,
Bear?
no. Well, yes.
Oh, you do? Okay, great. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm wondering if they've got some things they're going to hold close to their chest. Like this is our
secret.
This is our secret that makes us so good. Like you're not allowed to know that, but we'll find out.
It's going to help the Cats win. Then they should be.
They should be sharing secrets. I agree. So
I find it interesting that as much as I love the food, I would consider it a treat and not necessarily something in regular rotation. But why not?
Well, I'm the same. Like it's an amazing treat to have, seldomly for some, but if you could just bring it into your regular routine, well, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Why not?
All right. Okay, well, let's wrap. I mean, we've been going on and on a little bit, indulging making the most of our time together, which I think is coming to an end. But
I know. Been a good 2 weeks.
Any final fan question? I do not have Jez's lemon slice recipe at Liv Taylor, but I think he put the ingredients up on his video.
Yeah.
And look, we'll see if we can ask the question of him if he can post every step of the recipe to his own channels.
Yeah, he's very giving on his channels, Jez. So I'd imagine it would already be up there.
How good is DK?
It's really good.
Great. Oh no, I've got one for you. Where was it? Little thinking music would be great. What was the one that was about? Are the Cats? Yeah, here we go. From Hayley Gorringe.
Yes.
Would the Cats get another premiership by the next coming year? Wow. What a great question to end the pod on.
Would they get one? Yes.
Yes. And that is all from To the Final Bell for another week. I'd like to thank Shannon Byrnes for you got a future in this, you know.
You've made it very easy, Meg. I feel very privileged to be able to step in for a couple of weeks. Lingy's absolute pro, and I'm sure he's going to slot back in nicely. But thank you very much for having me. I've absolutely loved it. I think we've had a bit of fun, hopefully.
Shout out to the parents.
Shout out to mum and dad. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Enjoy Friday night. Enjoy the haircut.
Cheers.
And go the Cats, because we're just we're doing these ones.
Yeah.
And this is a podcast.
Keep trending upwards.
That's right. If you're not watching on YouTube, we're trending upwards.
Trending upwards.
All right. We'll see you same time next week. See you, Cats fans.